Welcome to the Progressive Education Society's Modern College of Pharmacy, Nigdi, Pune. Today, we are going to talk about pharmacological management of congestive heart failure. Congestive heart failure means impaired cardiac pumping such that heart is unable to pump adequate amount of blood to meet metabolic needs of the body. It is not a disease, but it is a syndrome. It is associated with long-term standing hypertension and coronary artery diseases. Moving towards factors affecting cardiac output. There are three main factors: heart rate, preload, and myocardial contractility rate. First of all, we are going to see heart rate. In general, the higher is the heart rate, the lower is the cardiac output. For example, cardiac output is equal to heart rate into the stroke volume. If we consider heart rate as a 60 beats per minute and supposed to be stroke volume 80 ml, then cardiac output will be 4800 ml in a minute, that is 4.8 liter per minute. If we consider heart rate as 70 beats per minute and cardiac stroke volume 80 ml per minute, then cardiac output approximately up to 5.6 liter per minute. But only up to the point. With excessively high heart rate, diastolic filling time begins to fail, thus causing stroke volume and cardiac output to fall. For example, if a heart rate 60 beats per minute and stroke volume is 80 ml, cardiac output is a 4.8 liter per minute. As we go on increasing the heart rate, that is up to 80 beats per minute, stroke volume 80 ml, and that's why cardiac output increases up to 6.4 liter per minute. As we go on increase in a heart rate up to 100 beats per minute, cardiac output rises up to 8 liter per minute. If we go on increasing the heart rate up to 130 beats per minute, stroke volume decreases up to 50 ml and overall cardiac output is going to be 6.5 liter per minute. Further going on increasing the heartbeat 150 beats per minute, again the stroke volume decreases, and this time there is a decrease in a cardiac output up to 6 liter per minute. As cardiac output is important in development of congestive heart failure, so we are going to see the factors affecting cardiac output. The first factor which affecting cardiac output is preload. It is the volume of a blood or amount of a fiber stretch in the ventricles at the end of a diastole, that is before the next contraction. Preload increases with fluid volume, vasoconstriction, and preload decreases with fluid volume losses and vasodilation. The next factor which affect the cardiac output is contractility. It is the ability of a heart muscle to contract. It relates to the strength of the contraction. Contractility decrease with infarcted tissue which has no contractile strength, ischemic tissue which reduces the contractile strength, electrolyte and acid base imbalance, and effect of negative ionotropes. Negative ionotropes are the medication that decrease the contractility such as beta blocker. The contractility of a myocardium increase with sympathetic stimulation, that is effect of epinephrine or noradrenaline, and effect of positive ionotropes. Uh, Positive ionotropes means the drug which increases the myocardial contractibility, such as digoxin, and sympathomimetic drugs such as amphetamine. Moving towards pathophysiology of congestive heart failure. In congestive heart failure, heart fails as an effective pump, which leads to decrease in a stroke volume and cardiac output. There are various compensatory mechanisms in a body which kicks into increase in a cardiac output. The first mechanism is sympathetic nervous system stimulation. As there is a stimulation of a sympathetic nervous system, there is a release of epinephrine and norepinephrine from the sympathetic neuron. This release of epinephrine and norepinephrine increases the heart rate, increases the myocardial contractibility, and increases the peripheral vasoconstriction, and which leads to increase in a afterload. Togetherly, they cause increase in a cardiac output. Second is myocardial hypertrophy. In this, the wall of a heart thickens to provide more muscle mass. As there is a more muscle mass, there is a stronger contractions occur, which leads to increase in cardiac output. Second factor in a pathophysiology of a congestive heart failure is hormonal response. Decreased renal perfusion interpreted by the juxtaglomerular apparatus as an hypovolemia. That means blood reaching to the kidney is decreased, and juxtaglomerular apparatus identify it as an hypovolemia. Thus, in response to this hypovolemia, kidney releases the renin, which stimulate the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, and this angiotensin 2 causes aldosterone release, leading to sodium retention and water retention and peripheral vasoconstriction. Though compensatory mechanism may restore cardiac output to near to normal, but if excessive, the compensatory mechanism can worsen heart failure because of vasoconstriction, which increases the resistance against which heart has to pump. That is, it increases the afterload and may therefore cause decrease in a cardiac output. Sodium and water retention causes increase in a fluid volume, which increases the preload. If there is a too much stress, leads to decrease in the strength of a contraction and therefore leads to decrease in a cardiac output. Excessive tachycardia, decrease in a systolic feeling time, therefore leading to decreased ventricular feeling, and as the ventricular feeling is decreased, there is a decrease in a stroke volume and cardiac output. During the heart failure, there is a decrease in force of contraction and decrease in a cardiac output. Due to that, there is a cardiac remodeling causing the ventricular dilatation. In this process, back pressure is developed on a heart, leading to edema. The two compensatory mechanisms plays the important role. First, there is a decreased renal perfusion, which leads to increased renin release, increase angiotensin 1, then angiotensin 1 get converted to angiotensin 2 and cause increase in aldosterone. Due to decrease in glomerular filtration rate, there is a sodium and water retention, and due to that fluid in a body increase. The second compensatory mechanism is there is a increase in a sympathetic discharge from the sympathetic nerve terminals, leading to release of adrenaline and noradrenaline. There is, due to that, there is a vasoconstriction and beta 1 receptor activation. Due to beta 1 receptor activation, there is a increase in a preload and increase in afterload. It also leads to increase in a force of contraction and increase in a heart rate, leading to positive ionotropic and positive chronotropic effect. Altogether, this effect leads to increase in a cardiac output. But as the action wear off, later it decreases the cardiac output. Moving towards the types of congestive heart failure, there are two types of a congestive heart failure, right-sided failure and left-sided heart failure. Left-sided heart failure is more common, and the reason behind it, a persistent development of hypertension, cardiomyopathies, valvular disorders and myocardial infarction. Right-sided failure is caused due to result from disease right ventricle, blood backups into the right atrium and in a venous circulation. The most probable cause for right side failure is left ventricular failure, cor pulmonale and right ventricle infarction. Due to right-sided failure, there is occurrence of a venous congestion leading to peripheral edema, hepatomegaly, splenomegaly and jugular venous distension. Right-sided failure, it is a primary cause of a left side failure and cor pulmonale. Right ventricle dilatation and hypertrophy caused by the pulmonary pathology. Further, congestive heart failure classified based on the person's tolerance to physical activity. It is classified as class 1 with no limitation of a physical activity. Class 2, there is a slight limitation of a physical activity. Class 3, there is a marked limitation in a physical activity. And class 4 is inability to carry on any physical activity without discomfort. Based on pathophysiology of congestive heart failure, the drug used in a congestive heart failure are classified as ionotropics, vasodilators, diuretics, aldosterone antagonists, and beta blockers. Ionotropic drugs, further classified as cardiac glycoside, for example digoxin and digitoxin, sympathomimetic amines, for example dopamine, dobutamine, and phosphodiesterase inhibitor, example amiodarone, milrinone. The next class of a drug is vasodilator, and it further classified as arterial dilators, example hydralazine, minoxidil, nicorandil. Venodilators, for example nitrates, and next arteriole and venodilators, examples are ACE inhibitor and angiotensin receptor blocker. The next class of a drug in congestive cardiac failure is diuretics, which is further classified as loop diuretics, for example furosemide, torsemide, thiazide diuretics, for example hydrochlorothiazide, and Potassium sparing diuretics, example spironolactone. The mostly used beta blockers in congestive heart failure is metoprolol, bisoprolol and carvedilol. In therapeutic doses, digitalis leads to partial inhibition of sodium-potassium ATPase enzyme, which inhibit entry of sodium and potassium within the cell, hence only allowing calcium to enter within the cell, leading to increase in a force of contractility. Pharmacological actions of digitalis classified as cardiac actions and extracardiac action. In cardiac action, digitalis cause increase in a force of contraction and increase in a cardiac output. But it decreases the heart rate. It decreases the refractory period and increases the conduction velocity in atria as well as in ventricles. Increase in refractory period and decrease in cardiac velocity in AV node. It increases the automaticity. In ECG, there is an increase in a PR interval and decrease in a QT interval. These are the cardiac action of a digitalis. Extra cardiac actions are in kidney due to improvement in a circulation and renal perfusion. It retains the salt and water is gradually excreted. And in CNS, it causes nausea and vomiting. Cardiac glycosides have two glycosides, short-acting digoxin and long-acting digitoxin. Digoxin mainly used in a congestive heart failure, cardiac arrhythmia such as atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter, and paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia. Moving towards the adverse effect of digoxin. Adverse effect in heart causes bradycardia, pulses bigamine, atrial extrasystole leading to atrial flutter and atrial fibrillation, ventricular extrasystole leading to tachycardia and fibrillation. It also causes partial heart block and then reach to complete block. The extracardiac adverse effect of digoxin are nausea and vomiting, restlessness, disorientation, visual disturbances and gynecomastia. Treatment of digitoxin toxicity is first to stop taking digitalis. Oral and parenteral potassium supplement has to be given. A ventricular arrhythmia caused by digitoxin are treated with lidocaine for drug of choice. For supraventricular arrhythmia, propranolol may be given IVly or orally. For AV block and bradycardia, atropine in a dose of 0.6 to 1.2 milligram intramuscularly given. And In a severe cases, digoxin antibodies are used. The next class of the drug is phosphodiesterase inhibitors. Amrinone and milrinone are the selective phosphodiesterase 3 inhibitors. They increase the cyclic AMP level. The phosphodiesterase 3 isoenzyme is specific for intracellular degradation of the cyclic AMP in heart, blood vessel, and bronchial smooth muscle. As this phosphodiesterase inhibitor inhibits phosphodiesterase 3, therefore increase in a cyclic AMP. IV administration for short-term treatment of severe heart failure will use phosphodiesterase inhibitor. Milrinone is more potent than amrinone and does not produce thrombocytopenia. With the help of ATP and adenyl cyclase, they get converted to cyclic AMP. Hence, the cyclic AMP causes the activation of protein kinase, which leads to phosphorylation of a calcium channel. It increases the calcium flow and therefore increase cytosolic calcium level. This increase in a elevated cytosolic calcium leads to positive ionotropism and relaxation of resistance and capacitance vessel. Due to positive ionotropism, there is an increase in a cardiac output, and due to relaxation of a resistance and capacitance vessels, there is a decrease in preload and afterload. Increase in a cardiac output, decrease in a preload and decrease in afterload leads to inodilution. Tropic drugs are dopamine and dobutamine. Next is role of a diuretics in heart failure. Almost all symptomatic patients treated with a diuretic, such as high ceiling diuretic, are more preferred because of low dose therapy for maintenance. They increases salt and water retention and reduces the blood volume. Because of this, there is a reduction in a preload and venous pressure. It also improves cardiac performance and relieve edema. Next class of a drug are ACE inhibitors. Angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors such as captopril, enalapril, ramipril, lisinopril are used in a congestive cardiac failure. They acted by reduction of afterload, reduction of a preload, reversing the compensatory changes. ACE inhibitors are the most preferred drug for the treatment of congestive cardiac failure. Prevention of angiotensin II, either the production or its action, is important in the therapy of congestive cardiac failure. We can block the synthesis of angiotensin II by using angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor, or we can inhibit binding of a angiotensin II to angiotensin receptor by using angiotensin receptor blocker. The example of angiotensin receptor blocker drug in heart failure are losartan, candesartan, valsartan and telmisartan. They block angiotensin 1 receptor on the heart at the periphery vasculature and in kidney. It is as effective as ACE inhibitors. They are mainly used in a patient who cannot tolerate ACE inhibitor because of cough, angioedema, and neutropenia. The approach to the patient with a heart failure is done by following way. First, there is the assessment of left ventricle function, which is done by echocardiogram. If a efficiency is less than 40%, then it is assessed for the volume status. If a sign and symptoms of a fluid retention are there, then diuretics are given, which is titrate to euvolemic state. If there is no sign and symptoms of fluid retention, then it is treated with AC inhibitor, beta blocker, or with a Dixil. The summary of the drug used in a heart failure. The drugs which are used in acute heart failure are diuretics, vasodilator, dopamine, dobutamine, and amrinone. The drugs which are used in a chronic heart failure are diuretic, aldosterone receptor antagonist, ACE inhibitors, angiotensin receptor blocker, cardiac glycosides, and vasodilators.